Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with another Viking Orations. This time around, I'm going to be talking about what has become probably one of my favorite 2016 releases, and I'm talking about the new Dark Funeral, Where Shadows Forever Reign. Such a great album. I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to this. I would say pretty damn close to a dozen times since I've got it. And one thing about it, this is the kind of limited edition that has some of the most over the top packaging that I have ever seen. Look at that. Pretty cool, but man, oops, hold on. There we go. Like I said, it's very hard to remember how to get that thing back down. So yeah, like I said, this is Dark Funeral's latest release on Nuclear Blast. Clocks in at around 45 and a half minutes, 9 tracks in length. And honestly, besides being one of my favorite releases of 2016 so far, it is probably pretty close to being my favorite Dark Funeral album ever. I mean, I've always enjoyed most of their material, but this one is just so fucking good. I just cannot get enough of this album. And, everybody knows who Dark Funeral is. They're a Swedish black metal band that formed back in '93. So they were around for the, beginnings of the second wave of black metal. So they're not newcomers by any stretch of the imagination. There is a newcomer, though, on this album. His name, and I'm totally going to butcher this, is Heljarmadr. Sorry, I know there's probably people from Sweden that are laughing at me for that pronunciation, but anyway, this is his first album with the band, and he replaces their longtime vocalist, Emperor Magus Caligula. See, I can't even pronounce that right. Who also used to be in Hypocrisy and is currently in Witchery. And he left back in 2010. And I gotta say, this guy is a fucking great replacement for him. He just has such a great range of vocals here, from a very understandable, traditional black metal rasp to these really cool, clean spoken words and even some growls. And he kind of vaguely reminds me of, and I know this is probably going to turn a lot of people away from this when I say this, because a lot of people really hate this band, but he reminds me of Shagroth a little bit at times. And I'm thinking more along the lines of like on the Enthroned Darkness Triumphant album, and you really hear it in the song As I Ascend. But I mean, to me, that's not a bad thing, because I love Dimmu Borgir, I love Shagroth's vocals, but I just kind of get that slight feel to it, from him. And the other big complaint most people have when it comes to Dark Funeral, when I mention their name, they're like, oh god, that band, they so suck, because they're nothing but, a blast fest. That's all they do is blast, 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 blast. Yeah, they do have a ton of blast beats. There's no getting around that. But this album is not a total blast fest. Dominator, he just turns in this amazing performance, and it's very varied. He has a very powerful drum sound. I mean, you listen to it, and it's just like, it's not this real wimpy sounding, drum sound. Sorry, like I said, I've been awake since 3 o'clock this morning, so my brain's a little scattered. But he's got this very powerful sound that just hits you in the face, and I absolutely love that. It's it makes my speakers just kind of rumble a little bit, and I love that. He does a lot of great double bass work, and when he does blast, he's fucking furious. I mean, he's so quick, and he changes things up with his sound. I mean, there's times he just does this real simple pattern, but then when he kicks in with the blast beats, I mean, he just goes to town, just like fucking annihilates his kit, and I love that about his style of drumming, and also just his performance on this album. And then of course you have Lord Ahriman, who is the sole remaining founding member of the band. He also not only did the bass on this album, but he also, of course, is the guitarist along with Chuck Moll, and they just create some of these killer, evil sounding riffs, and some of them just get fucking stuck in your head. There's just no getting around it. I mean, they write some really amazing riffs, in my opinion. And the thing I really love about this album is how much it harkens back to their debut album. Not only, I mean, hopefully you can see it. Look at the cover. Very dark, very foreboding with the blue and the a little bit of gray. Excuse me, and the blue, gray, and the black in it. If you look at their album cover for the debut Secrets of the Black Arts, it looks pretty similar to this, and that's what I love because I fucking love their debut. It's an amazing black metal album, and I just love how they kind of captured that feel, not only with the album cover but just the music itself. I mean, the whole album has this very dark, evil, satanic, I almost want to say ritualistic feel to it. Their previous albums, all their covers had very bright colors, kind of like what my Carnifex shirt here. It's got yellow and orange and red, just very out there, very standoutish. And then now with this, they go back to the darkness, and that's what I fucking love about it. What else can really be said? I mean, this is besides having some very over the top packaging, this is just fucking solid black metal. It has a ton of blast beats in it. There's no getting around it. Dark funeral music is always going to have that. A lot of blast beats. You're just going to have to get over that. But if you can get past that, you're in for a real treat with this album because it's just, like I said, one of the best black metal albums that has come out this year that I have heard. So definitely a solid 9.5 out of 10 for me. I cannot get enough of this album. It's so good. And I know a lot of people that I've talked to that have heard it as well, and they were like, yeah, I mean, I can't believe how good it is. And, they may not have liked a lot of their previous material, but they listened to this one and they're just sold on it. So, like I said, 9.5 out of 10. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I'm still kind of getting used to actually talking about albums more other than how I give you a little brief description or whatever in my raids videos and everything. So hopefully again you guys enjoy this review. I'm going to conclude this now. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing, and until next time, stay brutal.